Welcome, Annie Collins here for the Makers Movement. Today we'll be creating this Halloween shaker card. Let's go over the products I used to create this card. I used the new stamp and die set called Trick or Treat. It has the layers for your shaker. This is the outer frame and that's the backer piece. It has 2 sets of faces that you can cut out and some candies. You get 2 sentiments in your stamp set, a candy corn, and these layering pieces for your lollipop and your little candy piece that's right there. We'll be using the double-sided adhesive foam, which is nice thickness to it. I went ahead and cut my frames out of the foam so I have them ready. And again, I used that outer frame right there. And I saved the inner pieces. You can use them for another project. So I have these little frames of adhesive perfectly to match our little frame. We'll also be using our clear acetate sheets. These come with a blue protective layer, so you just peel it off. I use the backer piece here to cut the acetate so it matches perfectly. Right there. And I love that we have this blue protective thing because it doesn't get any scratches or any fingerprints until you're ready to use it. All right, so I'll move these out of the way for a second and we'll go over some of the other things we have. We'll be using the Makers Movement Shaker sprinkles and we'll be using them. I'll go over each one with you. This is shooting stars and they're like these little pink, purpley colors. The candy corn shaker sprinkles. This is called Hocus Pocus. It has yellow and purple stars, some little round pieces, and little bats. I'm not sure if you can see them too well, and then this one's called Milky Way, and it's a bunch of black, tiny stars. Now, for your die pieces, you will need wire snips to take them apart, and a pokey tool. This is the Makers Movement tool set. This comes from the tool set. I believe there's 5 pieces altogether, and these help you remove your little pieces from your dies. And I'll have all the products linked in the description box below in case you missed something or I went too fast. Okay, so also need some adhesive. I'm going to use some art glitter glue. And I went ahead and die cut all our pieces ahead of time. So I'm going to move everything out of our way real quick. This set makes it perfect to use all those little scraps that you have in your scrap bin there. I mean, I use a little scrap of purple, a little scrap of black for all that, and now you can get rid of all these little tiny pieces. So let's go over what else we have. We have a layering piece of pattern paper here. And it has it's green with spider webs, a black piece of cardstock for layering, and our card base, which is A2, and I'm going to have it a top folding card. So we have a landscape style. All right, so we die cut our 2 foam pieces, so we have a nice height for our shaker. And now our little shaker bits move around nicely. I stamped and I die cut my sentiment here. I cut it twice from the same die, and this is a die I had in my stash, and I just trimmed away those little peaks on the side and a little bit extra so I have a nice frame all around, or a nice mat I should say, all around my sentiment. And then we have our little lollipops. I cut them from the pattern from colored cardstock and from white cardstock so that I can layer them and have an actual lollipop with a white stick. So as you can see here, I also stamped my lollipop with a little swirl. If you want, you can add a little more marker to it to give it a nice two-tone dimension. So what we'll do is we'll snip off the end of the orange lollipop, the stick I should say, and then layer the candy part on top of the white one, as you can see from my example here of the green lollipop. So we'll do that right away so that I don't lose my pieces. And I'm just going to grab my scissors real quick and snip off the little stem or the little stick. And I did this to all of the lollipops. I believe we have 3 in total. Yes. I'm trying to get my camera to focus so that you can see now it's just a small circle. I'm going to add a little adhesive to the white base there. And then I'll just place my orange candy part of my lollipop onto, or some people call them suckers. I don't. I call them lollipops. And now once it's pressed into place, now we have our lollipop and a white stick. All right, and I'm going to show you the rest of the pieces. We have our candies and our candy corn. I die cut the candies from, again, colored cardstock and stamped the layering stamp on it. Except 2 I cut from pattern paper, and it was black and white pattern paper. Our backing for our pumpkin is this plaid, orange plaid pattern paper. Here's our acetate and our frame. And that's from a orange pattern paper. It's a tone-on-tone orange. Here's our jack-o'-lantern's cute little smile. This is the little part of to create the opening of your jack-o'-lantern, the little black oval piece. These are the eyes, and there's a different set of eyes and a different smile that you can use. So you can have 2 different looking jack-o'-lanterns. And the nose that I can't pick up here. It's a small little triangle nose right there. Okay, so I'm going to clean up all of our pieces so we can get started on our project. I don't want to lose anything off my desk and then can't finish our project. Okay, let me get this little orange stick out of the way because we don't need it. Actually, you can use those if you want. You can just draw little spirals on it or slash marks and make them into candy sticks. Okay, so now to our project. I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of the sentiment, which is on the white cardstock, and layer it onto the gray cardstock and set it aside. Now we're going to start working on our frame. We're going to adhere the acetate to the back of our frame. I went ahead and peeled off one side of the blue protective layer. I'm saving the other one so I don't get fingerprints on both sides. And I'm making sure I match it up correctly. Now I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive, on my frame. I'll dab up any that's too gooey. There you go. I spread it out as thin as possible and dab up anything that's a little too much. And then I can place my acetate down. But with all that, I still get some glue on my acetate. But I'll show you how quickly and easily I clean it up. All right, so make sure it's all pressed down. Now to clean any extra glue, I just grab a paper towel and just put a little bit of water. I want it damp, not wet, not super wet, just barely damp. And I wipe the acetate on both sides. I'm going to put it on this notepad here because my desk is still very gluey, and I kept reapplying the glue. I would take it off and apply it again from off my desk. Now that it's all clean, we can continue building our card. All right, so now we're going to adhere one of these foam frames to our frame because I want my my shaker to really shake. So I'm going to put double the layer of frames. This foam is pretty thick. I usually just use one layer of it when I make my shakers, but I wanted, like I said, extra thick so I can put plenty of shaker bits in there. So I'm adhering the foam to the frame, and I just peel off one of the sides and work slowly, making sure that it's all lined up. And now I'm going to add the second one. Again, making sure everything's lined up and I have enough, that it is going to be nice thickness, that I didn't need to cut another one. I removed the backing off the one that's already on my acetate frame and the one that I'm applying to it so they can stick to each other. Clear off my mess here. Now I'm going to pull in my backer piece, but I'm making sure that I still have the backing on my adhesive frame there, because I'm going to be putting the shaker bits in and I don't want anything to stick to that. I'm getting my little spoon here so I can sprinkle them in, but before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of anti-static powder in my frame here and just brush it around. This will help minimize the shaker bit sticking to the plastic and popping around also, because the static, you move it and then it just goes everywhere. And it also helps them to move around even better. I'm putting a little bit of each of them into our little shaker window. This set here is so cute. It has these tiny little clay bats. These are all little clay pieces, the ones I'm putting in now. See, I'm trying to show you these little clay bats. This was little clay candy corn, stars, little circles, little, they look like sprinkles, like you put on your cupcakes, and little bats. It's adorable. And then we have regular black sequins, but they're teeny tiny. They're really cute. All right, so remove our adhesive backing, and we place our pattern paper facing down, facing towards the window, making sure all the ends are nice and attached, and our shaker is working perfectly. So I'm going to try to zoom in here so you can see all the little bits in there. There's a little bat. All right, so we're going to set our window to the side for a second, and I'm going to run all the other little pieces through my Xyron sticker maker. This will make it easy to apply them to our card and our shaker. And I don't have then glue oozing everywhere onto my shaker. So if you never use a Xyron sticker maker, you send all your little pieces through one side and then pull it out through the other. Then you make sure you rub down thoroughly, and then you peel off the clear plastic to remove your stickers. Where the clear plastic is, there will be no adhesive, but what's on the bottom will have adhesive. So I went ahead and adhered my little mouth, and now I'm applying the eyes to the shaker. And it's kind of hard to see right now from the angle I'm in, but once I bring it up closer, you'll see that the face is adorable. And like I said, there's two faces, a different smile, and the eyes in the other one is like a little crescent moon eyes. All right, I'm adjusting my mouth. I got a little crooked, even though it doesn't really matter on a jack-o'-lantern. They can have a little crooked smile, but I wanted to make sure it was a little more even. So that's the little piece that I was pointing at right there, is to be a faux opening to your jack-o'-lantern. All right, so let's go ahead and start putting our card together. I'm going to put the black cardstock down onto our card base, and it's the same size as our card base. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Making sure it's on nice and smooth. And now we're going to put our green pattern paper down. And then this pattern paper has like a distressed kind of edge on the bottom. So I'm going to make sure I place that towards the bottom. It'll give a nice shadow effect to our pumpkin shaker here. I'm going to attach the jack-o'-lantern shaker. Just put a little glue on the back and press it into place. If you feel like it's popping up, you can place a acrylic block on top or something on top to keep it. So there's the little oval kind of piece to simulate the opening of your jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to place one of my lollipops on the top, and I'm just going to tuck it just behind that so it looks like it's just sticking out of the opening. That's one of the inner pieces from our frame. I'm going to use that to cut a couple pieces to put behind that orange lollipop so it doesn't dip. Then I'm going to place a candy corn and 2 candy pieces on each side. Both sides will have a candy corn and one of those black and white pieces of the candies. This purple lollipop I will move around again. So here we keep just layering on both sides. I wanted to put that candy corn on the inside. I probably could have done it. I should have, but I wasn't sure. I know I want my sentiment there on the top right hand side. I'm going to place that on the card with some foam adhesive so I have a little bit of height. It's not as tall as the jack-o'-lantern. It's a more low profile adhesive. I'm going to flip my purple lollipop and my orange lollipop. I'm moving that one more to the center, and the purple one I'm putting more like the green. See here, I'm using the little inside piece of our frame, and I'm going to just cut 2 small pieces to place behind our orange lollipop. I'm going to stack them just the same way we did the frame. Removing the adhesive backs and kissing them together. Then remove again the adhesive backing and place it behind our lollipop. And we're pretty much set. What I do add are some stars on the outside and a candy corn by the sentiment. I don't do it here, I did it off camera. I felt like it needed a little something over there. But you'll see it in the finished photo. And now our shaker card is complete. This was super fun and easy to create with the Maker's Movement products. We had the acetate sheet, the double-sided foam adhesive, and the Trick or Treat stamp and die set. We also used the shaker sprinkles. We used Hocus Pocus, shooting stars, candy corn, and Milky Way. And I can see my candy corn is still kind of open, so I was just closing it there. I didn't want it to spill. And here's our shaker card once again. I'll have everything, like I said, listed in the description box below. Feel free to visit the Maker's Movement to see some of the great products they have. Thank you, and I hope you found some inspiration today.